Alright, so let's make a very simple character. And we'll do this in several different steps over the course of a number of videos. I'm holding my mouse button down at the moment, and I'm just kind of looking at this, and I think what I'm going to do is delete this cube. So I've got the cube selected, I'm pushing delete on my keyboard. So now what I can do is I can go up to Add Mesh, and I can select, in this case, a UV sphere. And we'll notice that when I do that, and with a lot of different actions, down at the bottom we'll get this little menu that pops up. And if we click on the arrow, we can expand that menu. And we can make adjustments to what's about to be created. So I can increase the number of rings, for example. I can increase the number of segments that are going to be in existence, and so forth. Or even I can determine a specific location, rotation, and so forth of the object. Now in this case, I'm just going to go with what I have. I'll be making changes later. Once I'm happy with what I have, I can just click somewhere and the object will be created with the specifications that I chose. So now I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to add another mesh, and this time I think I'm going to add a cone to create sort of like a bill, or I'm going to do sort of an animal. So instead of going up to add and selecting the mesh that I want, one thing I can do is I can just hold shift on my keyboard down and then push A, and I'll get this menu, and then I can go right here and select the item that I want, in this case a cone. And again, just like before, I can make changes to this based on what I think I might want. So I think I'm going to rotate the cone so that it's facing outward towards the front. Now, for the front view, or the side view, or the top view, or any other view, we can simply use the keypad on our computer. So if you have a keypad, you can push 1 and you will get a straight-on front view. I can push 3 and get a side view. Now, it doesn't appear to have changed much, but if you look, the gizmo on the top changes, and the color of these axes points changes when I push that. If I push 7, I will get a top view. The other keys on the number pad, the 8 or the 2, will rotate around the view. Same thing with the 6 and the 4. I'm doing it sideways. And while we're at it, the 0 on the keypad will bring you a camera view for the camera that's in your scene. And pushing the 0 again will get you out of that camera view. And one last thing to note is that if I push the decimal, or the dot, or the period on the keypad, it will zoom into whatever I have selected. So anyway, with that understanding, I'm going to go into my side view by pushing 3. I'm going to grab this cone, and I'm going to rotate it. And in this case, I can do it a few different ways. I can go up to the item, and I can select the rotation. And in this case, I would rotate it on X by 90 degrees to get it in a sideways view. And then I will simply grab this and move it. In this case, I'm just going to kind of eyeball it, maybe to there. I can scale it down a little bit and just kind of move it around until I get some kind of a bird beak thing happening. Now, I want to be careful, and here's a little warning, is if I get into a view like this and I decide to grab this and move it, it might end up off center or in a weird spot. So I usually will try to, when I'm moving something and trying to keep it centered on a specific axis, I will make sure that I am specifically in a front or top or side view when I move it. So I'm going to grab it again, and I'll just move it back into the sphere so that it's kind of looking like they're part of the same thing. And then I will stop there, and in a minute we'll make some changes to the geometry of these items.